this is the football den, back for some banter. And I've got to be honest with you guys. I've been on the receiving end. Karan and I have been on the receiving end of it this week since Manchester United has decided to go and draw against the worst team in the league. But before we get into all of that, I just want to introduce Sankalp here, who's joined us for the first time. And I hope he can bring some banter. He's clearly not got the beer today. So just why don't you tell us something about yourself and who you support?
Hey guys, firstly, great to be introduced on a show which is too passionate about football, just like I am. I've been playing football for donkey's years now. It's been about 15 years since I've been playing football, and Arsenal is one team which I support, especially because of the invincible season which we had. That is what, got
Only because of the invincible
that is what got me attracted to football very specifically. But yes, that is one season which I can say, yes, got me directed and got me passionate towards football in a cricket-loving country. So yeah, why don't, and like you all said, like how the football den is analyzing each game, watching each game just like a passionate viewer, a sports viewer would do. So why don't we get into the games and I can describe more about how I analyze football and what my banter would be like.
That's perfect because in this time, especially, we want to get away from all your Graham Souness and all your Rio Ferdinands. We know they have detailed and intricate analysis, but we don't, as fans, we want something more than that. We want some passion and emotion. So, talking about passion and emotion, I just want to dive into Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, who had so much of it when they were winning. But what has happened to them now? Karan, did you manage to catch the game?
I did, man. 3 losses on the trot. They conceded 3 goals within 6 minutes. I don't know if that was lapse of concentration or lack of belief, but whatever it was, it's not looking good for Liverpool, man. And if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd start worrying right about now.
Right. What are your thoughts, Sankalp? Do you yeah.
I think it's a worrying sign for Liverpool because if you go to see their position technically on the table, they are fourth, but with all games played. Rest of them dropping down to eighth, each have a game in hand. With each of them winning either a game in hand of theirs, they go above them. So it's a really concerning sign for Liverpool, and I really feel that in the last few weeks, since they've not got any centre back on them, that is one of the major troubles which I feel is coming across because of the fact that Henderson is playing as a centre back. You got Fabinho who's playing as a centre back. I don't think they're fit for that position. They can't fill in the shoes of what Van Dijk did. What are your thoughts on that, Amber?
Okay, before we move ahead, Sankalp, can you please fix your camera? It's
I just rotated. Hold on.
Yeah, bro, I honestly feel like Liverpool fans started worrying way before us other team fans noticed how deep water they're in. Because my brother himself is a Liverpool supporter, and every game he goes in, he's so fucking skeptical, saying, I don't think we're going to do well. I don't see us scoring. And I'm like, come on, you're Liverpool, man. You have Salah, you have Mane, you've got all your creators, Bobby, who you consider, I don't know what. So where is that confidence now? Where is that swagger now? And I feel like Jurgen Klopp himself has been so cranky, and his attitude towards the game, it's passing on to the players, man. Like you can see it. The players, even after going 1-0 up, they don't have the determination. When they conceded, I saw Trent Alexander-Arnold's interview, and he said, as soon as they conceded one goal, they just did not have any character to hold on and even go forward again. So I kind of see. I thought I wouldn't believe it, but I do kind of see Liverpool struggling to make it to top 4 this season.
Yeah, I'm completely on board with that. See, I wouldn't go as far to say that Liverpool won't end up in the top four because that would just be unreal. And even after signing a couple of centre backs, even after putting Kabak against Leicester, they looked shaky. I think Allison still doesn't trust the new signings or the midfielders who've transitioned into the defense. So that is causing issues for them at the back. But what is really causing them to not score enough goals? I really don't get it. I mean, I know that you build a team from the back and all of that, but they just don't have that finishing touch. What do you think about that, Sankalp?
I think since it was the Crystal Palace game, 7-0, 7-2.
7-2.
Yeah.
Yep. It
Yeah,
was okay. Against Crystal Palace, they won 7-0.
7-0.
yeah, they did win 7-0, and then things have just gone haywire. I mean, you don't expect that from a team who's the reigning champions. You go to see, even Arsenal technically had a similar form. They picked themselves out, they dusted themselves, picked themselves up. But for a club like Liverpool and the form which they've been in the past 3 years, they should be at the level at which City is. I mean, what is your Salah doing? What is your Firmino doing? Okay, I can't say much about Firmino because he never scores a goal. Anyway,
He's a defensive striker, mate.
I mean, I can honestly say he's one of the most least criticized striker of the game. How can you not criticize a Firmino and leave the entire burden on Salah and Mane to score the goals?
He's so
If
fucking
you're-
protective,
even though he's
man.
playing, even though he's playing a false nine, your original position on paper is a striker. You need to turn goals or assists. How can you rely on only two people? I think that is one missing key. Plus, I think the form around and about the Crystal Palace game from the time they dropped the 7-0 game, you see Diego Jota got injured.
Yes,
I think
that's
that has
actually
been-
a very good point.
Their spark of energy has, I think, just dimmed from there, from moving forward.
So can we confidently say that Liverpool is one of the worst champions in the last few years? I don't want to put Leicester in that category because come on, Leicester was a one-off, and that fairy tale, it ended well, it ended the way it should. But with Jurgen Klopp's arrogance and his heavy dog style that he claims to play, I think he has fallen short this season. But I know a man who hasn't and has been picking up all of the points available to him, just riding on and on and on, and that is our main man, Pep Guardiola. Pep has actually shown that class is permanent, and in victory or defeat, you can see Pep is pretty much himself, which is what I'm loving at the moment, to be honest. Because even though I'm a United supporter, I can see that United, they were in a position, and we'll get to that. We'll definitely get to that. But first, I want to talk about Pep and how the faith in his system has paid off. So, Karan, when you watch Manchester City, and you see the players that were missing for them as well, Kevin De Bruyne, Sergio Aguero, Laporte, and the way Pep has handled it, what does it tell you about Pep, and what does it tell you about Jurgen?
I think one thing that Pep has managed to get right this season is his centre back pairing. I think that is very crucial in a game of football, right? Like everything else is like you can rely on individual players, but a centre back is a pairing. It can't be individualized. Like Harry Maguire and Lindelof don't work as a pairing. Just giving an example. But Ruben Diaz and John Stones work really well. Laporte and John Stones did not work well, as we saw in the first half of the season. And the minute that Pep was able to get that right, his team just started clicking. You can see that they're not scoring as many goals this season, but they're grinding out the results because they aren't conceding many either. And that's probably my take on City's Pep City. And with Jurgen Klopp having to change 12 centre back pairings this season, if I'm not wrong, it just says.
So are you giving him an excuse? Are you letting him off so easy then?
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that that's the reason they're conceding so many. Why they're not scoring is really beyond me at this point. What do you have to say about that, Sankalp?
I mean, I'm not going to speak about Liverpool. I mean, that's what I like, not speaking about Liverpool. They should not be spoken about. But yes, in terms of Pep and City, you can clearly see what Pep is. There is a class and there's a reason you have a manager. Whatever excuse you might give for a Jurgen Klopp, but at the end of the day, he's a Champions League winning manager, he's a Premier League winning manager, and he cannot have excuses of not having a person available or blaming out the referees week in, week out. Look at City.
Exactly, man.
They have depth in the squad. People for the first two seasons have just blatantly gone on and told Pep that you spent 250 million, you spent 300 million. Isn't it worth it? Look at where City are. They missed out on De Bruyne about a couple of weeks back, and look at how Gundogan has fit in the shoes. Do you see a De Bruyne missing in the team? There's no De Bruyne missing in the team. It's just masterclass in terms of tactics. You got a complete performance all around. You not got your main striker, your captain Sergio Aguero playing for months out and out. You not got an out and out striker with Jesus not really hitting in the form. They're still managing to score goals, which Liverpool should, with having their prime players available for them in the attacking force. But it just boils down. It just boils down to the fact of how intensely Pep is getting the players to train, how each point matters to them, how it is not only the point, it's about you not losing a single ball in the game. You have watching City is like seeing a team with 12 players against 11 players. You just cannot count. There's a City player everywhere. There's a lot of
Exactly.
off the work ball which Pep is making them do and which is
That's
turning
right.
out to be great. 11 out of 11, 12 out of 12. I think this is the highest winning streak which has been going on in the Premier League in terms of wins, consecutive wins. I mean, that defines it all. Even with an Arsenal in the invincible era, didn't have that consecutive winning streak.
Exactly, and I think it plays very much in Pep's hand, and the story he's trying to create with in this season when he beat Jose Mourinho 3-0. We all knew that that style of play is going to cost him eventually this season, and when he went top, I'm glad he did not start bloating and he did not get overconfident because we all knew that's going to come crashing down. And I think he knew that they're not going to be able to sustain this form, especially when Harry Kane was out and Son when he's not on a scoring run. It's difficult. It's difficult for Jose. So yeah, I think Pep's headed in the right direction. And yet again, Jose is stuck with a team where he's going to struggle to finish top four again. I wonder what his excuse will be this time if he does not finish in top four. But as an experienced United supporter, what do you think, Karan? What can he blame this time around?
Well, I'm definitely sure he's going to put half the blame on Harry Kane's injury and the rest on his wingers not tracking back enough and them not taking the chances and things not going their way in key moments. I think he already did that versus Liverpool, where he said that the best team lost, which was,
Yeah, he did.
I mean, I really don't know what to say to that. They were definitely not the better team that night, and they did not look like the better team against City either. 3-0 against a depleted Manchester City says a lot about Mourinho's tactics now, and it's high time he adapts and uh, revamps those tactics. What do you think about that,
So
Sankalp?
Sankalp, what do you think? Do you think Mourinho is out of his depth now, and is he no longer a tier one manager?
I can't say he's not a tier one manager, but he is definitely a top class manager. There's no giving. I mean, Spurs is a shit team, and he's done it with shit teams before. He's got them to a Champions League final 2010. I mean, it's just about the commitments probably from the player, the chemistry of the team which is building in. I know I'm sounding like Jose, which I should not be sounding. But nevertheless, what I think is the drawback which is turning out for Jose this season is he started well, he dropped in the middle because his playbook has become too open. You keep
Right,
a Harry
right.
Son, a Harry Kane, you keep a Son and the Højbjerg. Three of them man marked, the game is all yours. You saw that against City. You need these three players to be held around tightly because the game is just rotating. I mean, I don't remember the last time when Spurs, there was an alternate scorer for Spurs apart from Harry Kane or Son, and someone who's just defensively tracking back alone. That's Højbjerg. I mean, and plus I feel that he needs to improvise his coaching. You have a world-class keeper, World Cup winning keeper in terms of Loris, and look at the kind of misses which he's made against City, the blunders which he's made. He could have at least kept a couple of them out. But I really feel that Spurs, as usual, for the last 30 years and still, they need a squad reshuffle and they need a lot of finance. A manager alone can't do it.
That's right. That's right. So when we talk about reliance on particular players, there's only one other team that comes to my mind. And Karan, I want you to start with this one.
So I already know you're talking about Bruno Fernandes. It's Bruno Fernandes FC right now. So
Right.
he, according to stats, he has had 38 goal involvements since the time he's come in, and that's hell of a lot goal involvements for the time he's been at the club. It's been about a year now, and that speaks a lot about what the others around him are doing, really. So I think he is probably one of the reasons that Solskjaer is still in his job, because with that defensive pairing, they were going to concede in and out every game. The only question was whether or not we could score those many again, and we have managed to, all thanks to Bruno Fernandes. So I really don't know where to start here. And like you said earlier in the video that we drew against the worst team in the league this season. No, we lost to the worst team in the league. That's Sheffield United. This is the second worst team, and we drew against them. So that's the correction, and I'll let Sankalp take it from here.
Lot to speak about United, but yes, heavy reliance on one single person. I don't blame that. He's come in when the team was in shambles, picked the team up. So obviously he's got to be your go-to man. Nobody comes. It's having a Messi in a Barcelona, in the current Barcelona team. He's your go-to person, and he is turning it and proving it around. But what Ole really needs to think about is not the attack, but the defense. Can't have Maguire and Lindelof playing the way they are. I mean, they were about to concede the winner. It was De Gea who saved them. It was a goal kick, I think, which came across. And how can the world's most expensive defender perform that way? I mean, there's an all-around management which needs to be changed in United. I mean, what is the transfer policy which is there? You all are picking up a Cavani when you all are not that required. The striker requirement is not as high as a defensive requirement. But I'd still say that, the Bruno Fernandes is not just the key piece in the puzzle. The additional person is Paul Pogba. Last couple of games not been playing, you can see the defensive difference which is there without him. Even though Pogba is off his game when it comes, but when it comes to being defensive, he is there. He's an intimidating presence which is there in the midfield, to be very honest.
Yeah.
And in terms of United being a team, hands down, you all started well, you all are running, you all had a good run of form, but with United under Ole, very specifically, you don't get that assurity which you had probably with an SAF. Tomorrow you can go win a game against City, next week you can come lose against Sheffield United. I mean, there's no predictability or assurity to a guaranteed win. It's just it's just a matter of nerves, which click in, which doesn't click in. And yes, as usual, United has to be shit. I mean, they have to, compensate for the good form by being shit a little time.
Which is what I find so strange. Like, why is it that only when Ole's job is on the line do these lads really pick themselves up and show what they have, right? Every time United has found themselves in a good situation this season, they've gone ahead and bottled it. So I'm not quite sure if that is something we can expect for the remainder of the season, because if that is the case, there are many vultures circling around for top 4 right now. And there's one particular vulture that we haven't even discussed yet. And I hope we can do that in our next stream, which is Aston Villa. कहाँ से आए हैं, कहाँ जा रहे हैं. There is just there's no cohesion between what happened last season when they were celebrating not getting relegated, and now all of a sudden they found themselves in a position where they can even cross Liverpool. To be honest, so wild season and wild results. But one thing is still constant, my friend. That is Arsenal, and the way they approach life in general. Oh my God. We haven't spoken about Arsenal in quite a while, so I'm happy we got a Arsenal fan here. So I'm just gonna let you discuss. First of all, cherish Aubameyang's hat trick, but also come down to reality and discuss where is Arsenal headed this season.
So definitely love the hat trick, first Premier League hat trick for Oba with Arsenal.
Probably the last.
I think he's. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay,
But
go
yeah,
ahead.
moving forward, I feel that he's getting the bit of form which he should be getting, which is probably inspiring some sort of confidence in the players. But I mean, how much of I hate United, how much of I banter about United, but I can definitely say that Arsenal and United both are in the same boat of being non-assured. I mean, it's the same team. You can get up and win one weekend. You can have 4 games in a row where you're winning, and then you come crashing down against a team which is fighting a relegation. There is no assurity which used to be there during probably the SAF times, the Wenger time. And yes, there are a lot of problems which Arsenal is facing. I mean, even though I'm an Arsenal fan, but that will not stop me from pointing out the mistakes which are there. A Granit Xhaka, too slow for the too slow for Premier League. You cannot be this slow. Secondly, I'm still not getting the fact that Holding has got a good piece of form, but I still don't get it. Why aren't you playing David Luiz and Gabriel, or a David Luiz and a Pablo Mari as your centre back first choice? You cannot have a Rob Holding who has had years of inexperience, and the only experience which matters is this season, the games which he's played. And I wouldn't call that as a good experience, because you started well first 4 games and then went crashing down like the Titanic. What is that?
It comes down to the same argument, right? Where when you say that United knows that they have defensive frailties and they need to strengthen that. We all know Arsenal, like the only positions they need to strengthen is that defense. So why the hell do they not go into the market and get someone rather than getting Odegaard and the likes of Ceballos and all? They're all good, they're fine, but where is your defense?
But to be really honest, yeah, I agree with your point, but I do not discourage the fact of getting Odegaard is because of one very simple reason. Today, like Liverpool are running in that slump now, we had a good 1.5 months where we weren't able to score a single goal out. You needed a change in the attack, because your likes of Pepe and a Willian were just sitting and minting money over there. I mean, it's purely useless. They should be kicked out of the club. What are they doing out there?
And is Arsenal too arrogant to turn back to Mesut Ozil then? So that they had to sell him and get in a player just like him.
Yes, 100%. I think they were too arrogant, which is what their mistake was. Okay, you don't give him your starting 11 position, but you get him as a super sub, get him to play that 20 minutes, because he will have that peak energy to run for 20 minutes, which he won't have for 90 minutes. And there are passes which he can see, which nobody else can see. He has got that. It's not like he's not played with Oba. He's got that chemistry with Oba. So why not? I mean, it even comes down to the fact that you're paying him 350k a week. You spend that money. Okay, you're spending the money. At least give him a few minutes. Get some ROI on the money which you're spending. What is the point? But yeah, defensively, I think there's only one standout defender who is running for Arsenal. That is Kieran Tierney. He has been a fresh breath of defense which is there. He is on a level which none of the defenders currently at Arsenal. Probably Cedric is showing some signs, but again, he's playing on the off wing. He's not playing as a right back, he's playing as a left back, filling in for Kieran.
Right. So, Karan, do you think that this Arsenal team can make it to Europa, or are they not good enough yet?
Well, the only troubling point for me for Arsenal here is that whether or not they can perform consistently is one question, but the teams around them on the table are definitely picking up on form or continuing their already good form. So for me, I would say that it's too early to call for them. Right now, the likes of Aston Villa, West Ham, Liverpool, Leicester, all of them are competing, and United are all competing for that Europa spot because all of them are fucking dropping points instead of gaining them.
That's true. That's true.
So at this point, I'm not too sure, but I also wouldn't go on to say that they'll definitely not get a Europa League spot. But if I had to give them
I mean, there's Champions League in sight as well if you win the Europa League. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but yeah, there's a Champions League also in sight.
well, that's for teams already competing in the Europa League, and I don't think Arsenal is in the Europa League right now.
Yeah,
Oh, you are? Oh, not for long then. Uh,
I'll
so,
see you drop
So
down.
don't worry about that. We'll get to all the Champions League and Europa League action in the coming days. And we'll just wrap up for now. And we want to thank everyone for tuning in. We actually got a couple of calls and messages saying, where are you guys? Why are you guys late? It was just surprising for me, especially because I told Karan, I think it's okay because there's probably like one or two people anyway waiting for us. But it's a nice change. It's a nice surprise. And thanks for supporting us and continuing to support us. And we'll catch you for the next one, guys. Thank you.
thank you,
See you
Sankal, for
guys.
joining us, and we hope to see you soon on the stream once again.
Definitely. Great having a talk with you guys.